Hey everybody. Yes, I am back again. I don't know how many days this is. 23 days in a row making videos. Anyways, today's a pretty good video, I think, for me, my topics, what I'm interested in. But I think it might be a good video for people that UFO, UAP topic. If you haven't been following that, I don't know how you've missed it. But it's possible because if it's not in your algorithm, you're not watching it. If you don't know people that are, then you're kind of lost. But, anyways, this video is for people that kind of know about it or maybe know about it because I know of people that are that into it like I am. They're not going to probably watch this. But if you're somebody that's curious about it and is kind of wondering what's going on, this will be a good video for you. Okay, so I've made a script for this one because there's a lot of information in this video. It's probably going to be a long video, like could be half an hour, but there's no easy way of skipping through this. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking down sometimes to read. I can't remember too much. So anyway, it's going to be pretty off the cuff in a sense because I'm going to go off topic and go on a couple rants here and there. And but here we go. Okay, before I start, I want to say that I'm not claiming to know everything. I'm not a hundred. I'm Nothing is 100%, but this is what I believe. Based on 26 years of studying, I'm 46. I started showing interest, had interest. I even had interest when I was a kid, like before I was 20, like 12 years old, 15. I remember watching X-Files and stuff, and I remember being interested in it. But back then, they didn't have YouTube, they didn't have that many documentaries, and you'd have to rent a VHS, a big, if you're my age, you know what I mean. So I was interested in it, but I was not able to, research it the way I wanted to. So it was kind of like, wow, that's interesting. Like, hey, mom, dad, like, is that true? They're like, oh, no, that's all BS or whatever, right? So I grew up, I got to about 20, and I remember being 20 years old and starting to buy books and buy movies. So I'm going to go from that. Yeah, so 26 years on the topic. And this is my honest opinion after all those years. This is what I think. So, what do you think will happen when the UFO and UAP topic is finally confirmed or the phenomenon? How are people going to react? How will governments respond? And how will it change the world we live in? Well, this is exactly what I'm here to talk about today. And I'm sorry I have to read this. It's just, I will forget. At first, this was a curiosity, right? I was curious about it, but then once I became curious about it and I started to learn, I very soon became seriously interested in it, especially in the last 15 years. The last 15 years, I would say I've been in a healthy way obsessed with it. And those are for a number of reasons I'll get into later. But I'm going to talk about how I've studied it because people that are skeptical, and I am a skeptic, by the way, not really as much anymore, but I was like, this is not true, right? This is how I studied it. And I have kind of obsessions about me that when I get into a topic, I like with YouTube, for instance, like I'm running with it, man. I don't know how long I'm going to run with it for, like obsessively making videos, multiple videos a day, researching, blah, blah, blah. With almost everything I get into, when it's like how to make money, business ideas, I run with it. Sometimes it does not go well. Check out another video I made, Trusting Your Gut. That's the name of the video, because it has failed me miserably a few times. So now I've gotten smart and I don't run with things that I I do not have a lot of knowledge of, especially when it comes to making money, because it usually ends up with me going into debt. My wife does not like that. So, back on subject. How I studied it. Here we go. Well, you can start with documentaries and books. Listen to interviews. I compared stories. Sometimes I watch things many times over. Some movies, I'm not even kidding you, I've watched 30, 40, 50 times. Like so much so that my wife's like, "You watching that again?" Yeah, you know why? I'm looking for errors in their stories. And I'm also looking for other films they've done, and I'm seeing if they're changing their story. This is how obsessed I was with it. I look for mistakes, errors, and I also look for lies or embellishments or exaggerations in their stories, whether it's a book, a video, a documentary, different years, same person. Because you know, some of them go on these circuits, right? The well known ones. So that's what I was trying to do. I was really trying to like find out if, like, is this guy making money? Is he getting a book deal? Is he somehow benefiting from it? More on that later. I also look for patterns, right? I look for patterns in their stories, like were they changing in any way? Were they adding things to it? Were the patterns consistent? Like if I just say Bob Lazar example, if you don't know who he is, look him up. Came out in 1989. And I know that, not even looking off anything, I just know. You look for, is he telling the same story 35 years, 1980, 30 something years ago? Is he telling the same story today? Or has it changed? Well, that's one story that has not changed at all. That makes you think, right? And he's not a millionaire. He hasn't made any money. He's actually been attacked. His residence, his home has been, a bunch of stuff is seized. His business, nuclear something, he's got a business in Las Vegas. It's been raided multiple times, I believe. One time it was raided while they were filming a documentary. It's caused them nothing but pain. Yeah. So yeah, patterns, right? You got to really look into people, find out as much as you can about them. That's kind of what I did. So over the years, and the people that know about the topic are going to recognize these people. Over the years, like I said, I followed and researched Bob Lazar, the Betty and Barney Hill, the Rendlesham Forest, Billy Meyer, Chris Bledsoe, military pilots, government witnesses, and hundreds of documentaries. I would say thousands I've watched. I'm not even kidding you. I'm trying to be super honest. I don't think it's hundreds. I could say I've watched hundreds, like maybe in the last few years. I think it's more than that, though. It's thousands. Yeah, yeah, a lot. I analyze the shit out of them. My skeptical side, I've always been skeptical because people lie for money, for attention, for fame. So I question everything. I always question everything. Why is this person saying this? And I did come to a conclusion. Have people lied on documentaries? Yeah, they have. Have they been caught? Some of them maybe not, right? They've maybe not been caught at all. Is there people out there right now that are still lying? Yeah, there's some. The problem with that is lying about this topic doesn't get you anywhere. Like, it doesn't get you rich. It gets you investigated. It gets you made fun of. So that's the problem. It would be different if you were lying and you were making money and you're benefiting from it. If you look up the net worth of a lot of these, majority of all of them, they don't even have a net worth at all. So they're not making any money doing it. Does Dr. Stephen Greer have some money? He was a doctor. He does these meditation. He charges for that. Maybe he's making money from it, but that doesn't technically mean he's lying about it, because a lot of people don't like him, right? I think he says some outlandish, crazy stuff. Do I think he's lying about all of it? No, I don't. How long has he been doing it for? Is it worth all this pain for him and people in his team getting shot and being killed? That's happened. Is he making money on other aspects of it, like the meditation retreats and stuff? I think he is. I think he's making probably a lot of money from it because he was a medical doctor and then he quit. So he didn't do it for that long because he quit when he was 30. So how many millions did he make? Apparently he's got like 5 million net worth, something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's in that ballpark. Does that mean I don't think he's lying. I think maybe he's kind of forked off into two, like the topic, and then he's making money from it related to the topic. But he does say some crazy. It could be true though, right? It could be. He's been right a lot of the times, but he's got this arrogance about him. I don't really, you know, I think he's kind of like he's irritated by the subject because he's been doing it for so long. I think he's kind of upset about like how it's just dragging on. He's probably thinking like he's 70 now. He's probably thinking, you know, I'm not gonna be around forever, and I'm not getting much traction with this. He's irritated. People ask him same questions, and they call him a liar. I mean, it probably gets irritating for everybody. But is he right about everything? I don't think so. Does he know a lot? Yeah. But let's move on from that. But that's just my opinion. I'm not in love with the guy. He's got some, yeah. But I do think he said some. He's definitely helped the subject, and when it comes to certain topics and aspects of it, he might have also damaged it because you never know when you're being lied to by high-level government officials on purpose, and then telling everybody that it's fact. That's how I think. My dogs are going nuts over there. Okay. So my logical mind always comes first. I'll take it in, like, and I'm not some sort of like super smart dude. Okay. I barely graduated. But when it comes to like building things and this and that and whatever, getting sober and how to do it, like, I think like logically, okay? Like, is it going to be logic for Colin to hang out with a bunch of other people that still drink while you're drinking, while you're trying to stay sober? No. Is it good to hook up with a woman that is drinking like a fish, but you're not, but she's good looking? That's not a good idea because you're not going to get sober doing that at all. I had to learn the hard way. So when I talk about logically, that's what I mean. I always think of myself as like, okay, what would this smart person do? Just think of a smart person in your life that's done really well, or a celebrity or whoever, right? What would this person do in this situation? That's kind of how I think. Even the person can be made up, but in your mind, they're the smartest person. They don't do stupid things, and you just pretend that's the person, and you're like, would that person do this? Like, okay, I only have $1,000 credit, and this thing is like 800, and I have no more money coming in for a bit. Is that a good idea to buy that? But I really want. No, it's not, right? There you go. Okay, so this is what I believe. I know I'm kind of going like this. My computer is like flashing at me because I'm not. It's like getting mad at me because I'm not following the script that well. But what I believe after 26 years, and this is what I honestly think from all of this knowledge. This is what I think, and I would say I think about it to a point where, like, I really doubt that I'm wrong, but I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Like, I might have some aspects of it right, but I can definitely admit that when I'm wrong. For me, from my research and what I've learned, I don't think I'm wrong about this. I really don't. But if I am, I will admit on camera that I was wrong. Let's have a little beer before we get into this. It's 0.0. I didn't fall off the wagon. I know what you're thinking. No, no. Don't want to do that. I'll be running around naked. Okay. This is what I believe. I really strongly believe, in my opinion, we are being monitored. We're being observed. from afar. And if you look at all the evidence, they never get too close. Have some of them crashed? Yes, they have. We can get into that maybe in another video. But my honest opinion, we're being monitored. We're being observed, whatever you want to call it, monitored, observed, watched closely. What's being watched? We are. Our nuclear weapons are being watched. Our nuclear facilities are being watched. Our wars are being watched. They're always around. That in Japan, the tsunami, they were all around. Research it, look it up. They seem to be very interested in our nuclear capabilities, our nuclear power plants, and where nuclear stored like weapons are kept in storage facilities that are secret, by the way, but those have been monitored. Some of them have been turned off several times. Russia, in the US, oh yeah, they've been armed and disarmed by themselves when they cannot be armed that way. They have systems in place to make sure that they are not armed by accident, because you know why? It can destroy the Earth. You know, they can accidentally launch, and then they're going to launch, and they're going to, that you know what's going to happen, right? So, oh yeah, that's another topic. But they tried to get to the bottom. They took the whole thing apart to try to find out how it happened. There was nothing wrong with the systems. Robert Salas, is that his name? See, I just know these people's names, right? He was working the nuclear. He was actually responsible for launching them. 1961, I believe. It was 1960 something. He has a story. Robert Salas, look him up. He witnessed it. So if we're being observed from afar, why are we being observed from afar? Why aren't they coming closer? Well, the reason is we're not exactly the friendliest species. They see what we're doing. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry about that. My dog was about to shit himself. He was doing the whole little right. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we're being observed from afar. Why? Because, like I said, we're a dangerous species. We've tried to shoot them down. I think we have shot. I can't confirm that one because I haven't dove into that part. But we definitely are not the most friendliest species, so they don't want to get too close. That could be part of it. I'm sure that's part of it. The other part of it is why, like why get too close to them, and why meaning, if you are us, a human, and we are observing lions in the Serengeti in Africa from a helicopter, and we are tracking to see how many they are still. Do we want to land and, you know, like mingle with them, or we just kind of want to see how the population's doing, dart a couple, right? Dart a few, maybe see how their blood's doing, you know, whatever. We don't want to go down there and mingle with them, though. Why? Well, first of all, they're not very friendly, and they can kill us in an instant. That's probably the same kind of, you know, the mind frame that they're at. Okay, let's see how they're doing, and then take a little count here. See how many? Okay, they're not blowing anything up. They're not. Okay, cool. Right? Do I think that they're violent? No. Do I think that we're in danger of it in any way? I don't believe so. I mean, I don't know for 100%, but by the track record, and the track record goes back hundreds of years. Okay, it actually goes back like of them being visibly in the sky thousands of years, because they're in cave art. There is cave art paintings, and there's stuff in the Bible also that shows these little spheres in the sky. Also, hundreds of, like in written record, there are stories of these things being in the sky. So this is like a long-term, in our past, thing that's been going on. So back then, there's no stories of like, you know, things getting destroyed. This is happening. All that we know is People are being taken out of their beds. Yeah, I just said that. It's true. Yeah, maybe you don't want to hear that, but it's true. Yeah, I looked into that I looked into this part of it so deep. Like that cannot be true. Little beings with big round heads and big eyes are coming down and taking people out of their beds and then returning them. You notice how I said return? Almost every single case that there is, they have been returned. There's a couple that I think something happened to them. There is maybe one confirmed death, like they left him in the wrong spot and he froze to death. So don't quote me on that because I didn't. This is like I kind of went off the rails here a bit, but I know that something like that happened. But from the vast majority, and there's been millions of people taken, by the way, that are on record. A lot of people won't even talk about it, but it's true. Cows being mutilated and people seeing them being, we think like that's not possible. Well, it's possible. I'm telling you, it's possible. You know why I know that? It's because I studied different people from different sides of the earth, different languages, different ages. Some are children, some are 90-year-old men, different sides of the earth, 50 years apart, different century, different generation, different continent, different country, different upbringing, different religion, have the same stories over and over and over and over and over and over again. I tried to there's no way it's happening. It's happening. Like somebody in the Amazon jungle that lives like in the Amazon, what are they, government operatives? Like in the 1960s? Like, no, they're not. Not everybody is like, oh, he's, misinformed. That wasn't even, we're talking a long time ago. And then all the modern stuff, it's all super eerily similar. Sometimes so similar, you think it's the same story, but it's not. It's a different story. That one in New York, they made a documentary on Netflix. She floated out of her apartment. Two cops saw it. The media tried to laugh it off, like, oh yeah, right? People float through solid objects. They have some way of manipulating matter. It's true. If it's not true, well, I guess I'm stupid then, because that means my research is crap, and I don't believe that's the case. Maybe it is. It's not though. It's not. It's true. Doesn't make you feel very good when there's things coming into your room and you can't do anything about it. People are frozen, paralyzed, can't move. How many times have you heard that? Over and over and over and over again. Can't move but their eyes, but they can see things in the room. Usually come in threes, blue colors, over and over and over and over. So that's the pattern I look for. And I've got to that pattern and I'm like, wow, that's really happening. And nobody wants to talk about it, but well, I guess I will because it's happening. And if it's not happening, well, I guess everybody's a government operative then. Everybody works for the government secretly, I guess then. It's just not logical. The logical thing is it's happening and people don't want to believe it. And there's also parts of the government that do not want us to run with that. Why? Because there's aspects of this phenomenon that aren't very fun to talk about. We'll get into that in a minute. So when it comes to the violent part, I believe NHI, aliens, beings, whatever, angels, whatever you want to call them, I believe that they've evolved past violence and taking over. Because if they haven't, why are we all still here? Why are we here for thousands and hundreds, and let's just stick with thousands because we know people saw them and they put them on cave walls. Okay, if you want to go from a more literal like aspect of it, okay, written, that's hundreds of years. We're still here. Excuse me. We're still here. Not one account have they've seen a disc in the sky launching weapons at a city. In California, what would they call it? The something about the lights in the sky. I can't remember the exact name of that one, but they shot at an object in the sky. I think like 1,500 rounds, and nothing happened to it. There were shells, casings all over the streets. Um, nothing happened to the object that they were shooting at. That's the only time I can remember of us shooting at it in like an open kind of like public way. But there's been no reports of that I know of things like shooting at cities or shooting people. Like, I think people have been injured. Possibly a few have died from the effects of the craft, but I just don't. I could be wrong because I haven't gone down that path, but I could be wrong. But I don't remember in my research anybody getting shot and killed or cities, targeted. So, just trying to go on here. Okay, so this part is a pretty interesting part, I think. I think this is the part that people don't like to talk about. The part of confirmation of this subject will be so dramatic and life changing and life altering. I don't have an idea. Like I have my opinions, but I don't really know what will happen. All I know is it's never happened ever in our history. And it's a massive shift when a species encounters another species that's way more advanced. And how do I know they're way more advanced? The way that they're moving and what they're doing, and the instances of things that they have done and told to many, many people that have been abducted, spoken telepathically, just those things alone, the chances of us meeting another species that is exactly where we are is basically zero. It's way more likely that we're going to meet a species that's not a million years, millions and millions of years ahead of us. Even meeting a species that's 50,000, that's pretty rare, right? We just have to stay in the cosmic scale. And meeting a species that is where we are technologically or behind us is also super rare. So meeting is like we wouldn't be able to meet a species that's flying these things in the sky doing right angles and going here from there in 80,000 feet to the ocean in 0.8 seconds and shit like that. So we know they're not behind us. We know they're ahead of us. How far ahead? Millions of years, in my guess. Millions of years, if not tens of millions of years ahead of us, because they obviously figured out a way to travel the speed of light, or with their consciousness, they just appear. Because I really don't even think traveling at the speed of light is even possible to get to those distances, right? Also, going underwater and doing 500 knots, right? That's happening. And going down to the depths of the ocean that we can't even go down. They're coming. Submarines have seen them down there. Yeah, that's a fact. They're talking about that in Congress too. So they can evade pressure. They can manipulate friction flying through air and water and the resistance. So we know they are extremely more evolved and intelligent than we are. Technologically, they they seem to not really have a sense of humor and they're kind of robotics, which makes me think that they are either part AI or they're some sort of biological organism mixed with AI or something like that. That would be the smart way of traveling, you know, through, different planets and oceans and pressure and stuff. They would use robotics or figure out a way to have kind of a semi-conscious AI mixed, kind of like a Terminator type of something like that. That's what I think. And the UFOs are probes of some sort, some of them with beings, some of them with maybe without beings on them. Yeah. Okay. So we will probably never be able to fully understand the phenomenon. And the reason why is because it's outside of our intelligence and it's outside of our evolutionary knowledge. So we haven't got there yet in our minds. It's like when we discovered internet, when we discovered how to do this, how to do that, like we all get there. We haven't even thought of it or even dreamed of it yet. So we can't understand what we can't dream of or we can't even imagine. Like if they're traveling from Earth to, a galaxy that's, 2 million light years away and they're getting there, they can imagine doing that because they're doing it. Well, we don't even know how to even barely get to the moon. We don't really know how to leave our planet safely and be able to thrive. We're trying to, but we don't really know how. We're going to be experimenting soon, probably 2030. People might be not coming home. That's not really knowing what we're doing though. Like when it comes to the internet and gardening and building buildings and bridges, humans know how to do that. But we do not know how to do what they're doing. And we don't even know how to do it on a tiny scale. There's been all kinds of disasters of the shuttles blowing up and parts blowing up all over people's lawns and everything. It hasn't gone exactly smooth. So we are like total infants when it comes to trying to leave our own tiny planet. That's what I mean by that. And there's things of that we don't have words for. You know, a lot of people say that they have the interaction with these beings and they say things and they're sent telepathically images and stuff, but they have a hard time putting them into words. It's because there's no words for them. I think it's going to be a humbling, it's going to be a scary situation, but it also could bring humans together. So the big question is, what are they? Well, here's what I think. I do think that they're beings, like I said a minute ago, I got ahead of myself. They're beings, they're biological, they're sentient, they're conscious, but they're also mixed with AI, would be my best guess. So I kind of got ahead of myself, but I just said that a few minutes ago. So the government's response to all this is slow but steady over the years, especially since 2017. And I'm not just saying that because everybody else says that. I say that because that's when the article came out and it kind of opened the door. But there's hearings, the reports, the whistleblowers, they are clearly getting something out slowly. And they don't want to obviously panic the public. So I think that they're just doing it slowly. And I think over time, a little bit, 2026, there might be a couple of revelations, right? I don't really know. 2027, apparently there's all this stuff supposed to happen, but apparently is a big word. But if you just take it from a logical mindset, bit by bit, it's going to come out. And eventually you'll get all of it, right? Or most of it, or enough to just know that we're not alone, right? That's what I think will happen. 2026, 2027, I think more evidence, yeah, more data, more openness, not the full truth yet, but closer. When it's confirmed, how will people react? I think someone's going to be scared. Some people are going to be very scared. Some are going to be excited. A lot of people are going to be in denial, thinking it's fake, thinking it's AI, thinking that's not the president, that's AI crap, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people are going to have a real hard time mentally, swallowing this big pill of there's something here that's way smarter than we are, because we're going to get to that point. because everything is going to change. You're not going to take your garbage out the same disclosure. The next day, taking the garbage will never be the same. Why? You'll still probably do it, but you're going to be deep in thought because your whole life you've always wondered. Most people always wondered, are we alone? And then all of a sudden, even if you're not obsessed with the topic, everybody thinks that. It's like the number, like how many top 10 things to think about, like what happens after we die? Are we alone? Blah, 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 right? Is God real? Right? This is one of those things. So you're going to be deep in thought in everything you do. Shopping, gassing your car up, fixing something, you're going to be like, fuck, there's others. That's going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult. And not only there's others, they're way, way smarter than we are. And humans automatically go, when are they going to wipe us out? I don't think that's going to happen. Sorry if you're looking for that, but why would you be looking for that? But you know how people love drama. I think it might be good. They're just waiting. They're like waiting for the right moment, like waiting, maybe they're watching the government. They are obviously. Okay, they're telling them this, they're telling them that. Okay, you can't just show up in the skies. People are going to freak out. They will. Well, we can't even get along with politics and stuff. What do you think? What's going to happen is a 6 mile wide craft hovering over all the cities. I mean, people are going to totally lose their shit. It's true. They don't want to do that. They want to probably do it first. Monitor us for a while. Maybe their while is hundreds of years. I don't know, but they're clearly monitoring us. Yeah, that's obvious. So how it's going to change us? Well, religion will change. Science is going to change. Politics will change, because I don't think that will be such a massive topic anymore once you get to this topic. I mean, how can you be bipartisan when it comes to that, right? And I think how we see ourselves is going to change, because we always think of ourselves as the smartest. We do the best. We're this, we're that. Well, we're really not. Look what we've done to the planet. Look at the pollution. Look at rivers in the Bangladesh and India that are just completely full of garbage. Like, they're probably up there going, what the fuck are these people doing? What are these humans doing? We're watching them. Maybe they seeded us here. Who knows? Look what we've done. We gave them life, and now they're polluting everything. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's possible. I haven't researched that, so don't hold me on that. But okay, the future. After acceptance, what will happen? I think we're going to grow. We're going to think bigger. We're going to be way more interested in space and other planets and this and that, and the more possibilities. If this is possible, what else is possible? Like, we thought we were alone for thousands of years, and now we just find out we're not. Like, what else don't we know, right? That's going to open up our minds. And then I think Earth, we unite. We're like, okay, all of us have witnessed something, instead of all this crap and drama that doesn't really matter, right? It's politics and red and blue and Democrat and man, I don't even care about that shit anymore. My final thoughts on this very long video. So I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm sharing my journey of my research for 26 years, 15 years obsessively every day. Wife is like, why are you watching this again? Like, yeah. But the truth will change us. It's not going to destroy us. And I don't think all of us have anything to worry about lasers coming down and roasting us like on a barbecue. I don't think that's the case. I think there's something probably scary about it, that there's a super advanced civilization that is monitoring us. That's scary. And there's other aspects of it that's scary that I'm not going to get into today, but we'll see. And my final thoughts is, if this video made you happy or you learned something, you should subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you think. I'm sorry if I kind of got off topic. I got major ADD, but I think I kind of got the message out, but I'm not redoing the video because it's like 40 minutes long. So that's what I think about what's happening with the UFO UAP topic, from my opinion. Anyway, I'm Colin. Thanks for listening to me today, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.